First thing you do is log into Trello.com with your Khan Lab School email and password. And when you log in, you'll see here you have your boards, which each board represents your projects. So here, when we look at this example project, we have three main headings: to do, things you haven't started yet for that project; doing, things you're currently working on for that project; and done, things you finished for that project. So what we do, if we look at the example of this film project, here under to do, master film apps on the iPad. Look for examples of documentaries. Under doing, I'm currently working on finding a filmmaker to interview and finish watching Blackfish. Let's say if I finished Blackfish already, then I'll just drag that and move that into the done column. So now I have these two items I'm already done. When I look at an item, often you need to do more planning than just write to do it. So let's say here, master film apps. If I click on it, here I have a checklist. So to master the film apps on the iPad, here are all the apps I want to master. So when I finish it, I can check, and then I can check my status towards getting that item done. So these are items related to projects, because the more complicated projects are, you're going to have tasks within projects, and those tasks, you might have subtasks that you have to complete to get that task done. So that's what this checklist is for. You'll notice here that you can also if this is a team project, you can add other team members to this task. So let's say this is something that somebody else is supposed to get done, or something you're supposed to get done together. So you have boards that are shared boards, and you can set deadlines as well. You can also move and copy tasks to others. So if I look at this here, look for model examples of documentaries. Again, if I double click on it, or single click on it, that is. And if I want to add a checklist, I go over to checklist, click checklist, and title checklist. So I'll just use the generic title. And then to add an item here, look for examples, documentaries. Let's say I have to go to the library. And I click add. And let's say I'm going to say check Netflix. Click add and check YouTube. So that was by clicking checklist and then adding items. Again, checklists really help you succeed at getting your items done. So the more you can subdivide and subtask, the better your project management is. You also notice here there's a little activity board. This is where we can communicate with each other. So I might say here to you, have you checked out Hulu and Vimeo? And I might comment. And then you might respond to that comment. So each single one of these task items has its own discussion board. So I'll say it again. Every single one of these items, I can have a discussion with you. So when you click on it, so like for example, on this Blackfish, if I click on that, I could say, hey, how was the film? And then you can respond. It's like, hey, the film was good, but what about dolphins? One really important tip is if you ever aren't sure of if somebody's commented on any of your tabs, is to look at your activity stream to see the comments here. So again, if you aren't sure if somebody's commented any of your tabs, you always look at the activity stream and that'll take you straight to the items. If I click on that, it'll take me straight there. So again, when you're here again, we have our headings to do, doing, and done. So you don't alter those, okay? You see that each of these projects is a to-do heading, doing, and done. And what you do is you add items. To add an item to any one of these, I just click on the bottom here, add a card, and I just start typing. So I click add a card and start typing. And then I can just move them anywhere. I can move them across boards and things like that. So when you have a new project, you want to make a list of all the things you need to do under to do. And then you want the things you're going to work on today, you move to doing. Or the things you're working on all week, or things you're currently working on, you move to doing. When you finish it, you drag it to done. Now, under on the right side, we have our menu. Labels, so you can color code each of these. Let's look at some of these are more fun, like stickers. I can take a sticker and I can drag a sticker over to an item. If you want to delete a card, you click on the card and then you click on share more, and then in the bottom right corner you'll see a delete button. If you want to close a whole deck, you click on the drop arrow in the upper right corner and then you click archive this list. That's Trello. Now, once you finish your managing your Trello for the day, then you got to actually pencil in your today's calendar into Google Calendar. So if I'm looking at the items I'm doing today, so let's say I'm going to find a person to film interview a person to interview, I'm going to look for documentary examples. I'm going to drag these things under doing. Okay. So then I go to my calendar. Under my calendar, I shared with you a template calendar under Green Group Calendar. And this calendar is kind of giving you the flow of the day. And there's two sections that you have control over, the most control over, which is the work time. Work time is studio time and core skills time combined, as in that's the time that you have to pencil in time you want to work on your projects and your different projects. This is time for you to practice how to time manage. Maybe you're going to use some of this time to meet with a partner to work on something. Maybe that's some quiet time to read a book. Maybe that's a time that you're going to have a optional class with Chris, or with Heather. This might be a time you're going to go do an internship eventually. So these are your work times. So your goal is to kind of pencil out what's happening in your work time. As some days your work times will be longer than others, but the lighter green are kind of things that your ongoing commitments that you have to show up for those. For example, we have our community meeting, we're all expected to go there, and we have advisory check-in, we're all expected to go there. Foreign language in the summer, we're all expected to try that, and wellness, we're all there, and community meeting, closing meeting. But you see these darker greens. What I do there is so that was the shared calendar to kind of give a sense of where I can control my schedule. But in the dark green, so let's say that I go back to my doing. Let's say I'm looking at model examples of documentaries. Let's say that okay, I'm going to at 2 p.m. look for film ideas. Okay, and I'll put this under my personal calendar, okay, or whichever that is. So you see, so then I'm trying to fill in what's going on in the dark green. And so let's say at 1:15 p.m. I'm going to do JavaScript. And let's say that at 9:30 a.m. I'm going to attend Chris's essay workshop. And let's say that 10:30 a.m. for fun. Here we have, I'm trying to fill in the dark green with my own schedule. And as I make progress, so let's say I found my ideas for my films, then I can go back to my Trello board here and I can move that to done. So that's how I kind of keep track of. So here that was an example project. You see I have a Trello board for my core skill goals, so we'll be filling it out with Chris. And then our independent project that you started with Jason, we're going to kind of continue that under as well. So when you look, so you manage basically, filling out all the things you need to do, move things to doing, and the things that you're going to be doing today, you start penciling it in and start practicing your time management. That's what, you are controlling your time. And one new thing I want to also introduce is that you should also keep a site called Schoology open, and we'll talk more about that later. But Schoology is basically your back channel with your other classmates. And that, let's say that I might share some resources with you, or you might post a posting that you found a resource that you want to share with your classmates, and that you post it here. And it's kind of like a social network that's private and safe. And then you can comment on each other's, you can like each other's comments and attach files and things like that. And Schoology is often kind of useful instead of trying to, sometimes you don't want to see the person in person, you don't want to bother the person in person because you might interfere with their flow. If somebody's working quietly and, you can put a message out here and this doesn't bother everybody. Like I don't want to say, hey, everyone look at this resource when maybe they're not wanting to be bothered right now. At Khan Academy, they use HipChat, which is kind of like Schoology. So to summarize, Schoology is where you communicate with each other. Your calendar is where you pencil in how you're going to use your work time each day, which is here's your dark green. And your Trello is where you keep track of all your projects, moving your items from to do, your listing your items to do under to do, moving it over to doing when you're currently doing it, and moving it to done when you're done. And then remember to always take advantage of when you single click on an item, you take advantage of creating checklists to keep track on checklists. And remember that you can add members and assign members tasks if this is a team project, and to use activity board to communicate with each other on that activity, whether it be with Chris or with your team members using the activities. One final tip is just that remember that you can have many different boards. So the board with your name on it is your main board where you're keeping track of your project management and you're getting support from your KLS teachers. Now, if you're doing like a team project, you might actually create a new board, and let's call this like Carnival project. And on this new board, you might then share this with all the KLS classmates. And so from here you'll do your project management. So let's say like photo booth, fish game. Click on it again, I can correct the spelling, and then say promotion. And then here I'll create my to-do column, and usually I use uppercase to separate it so I know it's a difference between the other ones. So done, and here to do, doing, done, to do, doing, done. And then I'll create my task. I need to get a camera, make a booth, and I can click on the item and assign it member. So I can start to assign each task to a member, and then we can create checklists and have it and share discussion with each other. How cool is that?